Welcome to this week's Coffee and Conversation. The title, Terminal Diagnosis, is because of two people, two events that received terminal diagnosis. One being my sister Jill, who passed away last week. And then another friend of mine, Pat, who had colon cancer. And then some tests didn't come back right. And then they found a couple of tumors on the liver. And found a third while they were doing surgery. So we can be optimistic, but that's not a good sign. My sister played the victim card from day one of her self-inflicted lung cancer. Her mom died from lung cancer. And she didn't follow the treatment. She didn't do anything right, but it was all somebody else's fault. Pat, after the colon surgery, has been living life, doing everything with his family and all. And so it made a question pop into my head. If you knew you had 12 to 15 months to live, but you still had to work, you get a little extra time off, what would you do different in life? Are there some damaged relationships you would repair? Would you spend more time with your kids? Would you golf a little more, fish a little more? What would you do with yourself to leave right? And then the big question is, what if your marriage only had 12 to 15 months to survive? And that it was going to die somewhere between 12 and 15 months. What would you do differently between now and then? Would you date your wife? Would you take the trip you've been putting off? Would you go visit the in-laws? What about that 25th anniversary trip from 3 years ago you haven't taken? And my question for you, the big question is, what makes you think that your marriage isn't going to be dead in 12 to 15 months? And why aren't you doing those things now? I run into this a lot. Well, it's not that bad yet. I don't think I'm going to do coaching yet. You don't wait until the cancer has metastasized and has almost killed you before you get treatment. You do screenings and you catch things early. It's what the men's work is. It's the equivalent of screenings and catching things early and getting rid of those little polyps in your colon before they turn into cancer. Yes, I have a colonoscopy due this year. I happen to be thinking of that. So, are you being proactive in working on yourself, improving yourself, and working on your marriage? First and foremost, working on you. Otherwise, don't be surprised when you get a terminal diagnosis. When she says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It's too late at that point if you've ignored all the warning signs for the 15 months leading up to the fatal blow. Sometimes you can turn it around, but the time to turn it around is before you hear those words. The time to create a great marriage is before it has tons of problems. If you'd like to talk, guys, shoot me a PM. I'm always here for you guys. Have a great rest of your week.